Hello, welcome back to Random Edge Productions. I'm Tristan, and this is a third part of a journal reading of my trip to India back in 2003, 20 years ago. So we've gone through parts 1 and part 2, and you can look those up. They're on my channel, Random Edge Productions, if you want to look those up and get caught up where we are. I had just finished reading the part of the journal where we had finished our time at the Ambala Training Center for Bible Women. And these are women who go out and they plant churches and get people together. And then a pastor, a fellow would come in to take the church that they've planted over, and then they do the same thing again someplace else. So we're going to be heading down to Delhi and going to a men's Bible Training Center. We'll be teaching through the inductive Bible study course down there, Pastor Lance and myself. And so this is where we're picking up. We packed up, we traveled, and now we'll begin part 3 of my journey to India. Arrival at the center. No, wait a minute. It doesn't say Centaur. Arrival at the Centaur. That's the name of the hotel. It was a jaw-dropping experience. This hotel is embarrassingly plush. By Indian standards, this one is off the charts. I don't think I'm going to mention this part of the mission trip to my supporters. Mud huts and straw mats would be more of what they expect. Ooh, if they only knew. So we arrived at the Centaur, and our journey begins there. And I'm talking to you as I'm trying to turn these pages because my fingers are rather fat. And, oh look, I turned the page. Let's get back to it. Yesterday for our church gathering, we met with men of the Delhi Bible School. And this is the first time I'd met them. It was on a Sunday. It was the first time we met them, and it was at a church service. It was a neat blend of Western and Asian worship. They worship with much passion and much volume. The triple hand drums went out as the dominant instrument. And I was asked to share the morning message. So I got a chance to preach there. I spoke on what might be titled The Call of Discipleship. I wonder how clear some of the illustrations used transfer into Hindi. I do know that some of the scriptures in English aren't quite the same in Hindi. This makes it interesting when trying to point out about a particular word or thought, only to find out later that it was a different word in their scripture. Oh, I got to backtrack a little bit. This would be back up in Ambala. This is a story I was going to tell you, but I forgot. And I just remembered. So there. Anyway, Pastor Lance, especially when he's teaching, and he would teach and he'd have the translator, he'd say, okay, you guys need to know this. And when we say guys in America, it could be referring to guys or gals. You say, you guys, come here, or whatever. So he was saying this for a few days. You guys, and then the translator would translate it. And only to find out that in that language, guys means cows. So here Lance is calling this room full of women that are learning the Bible, he's calling them cows, and we didn't know it. Anyway, there you go. That was for free. Back to Delhi at the Men's Bible Training Center. Class is going well here in Delhi. At points, though, I feel like the token American, while Jim, our interpreter, is doing the real teaching. He is in charge of the Bible college and is a little less jovial than our previous translator. Yeah, I remember that. He was a little bit... you'd make a joke and he'd present it without the facial punchline, and his translations were much longer. So I was wondering if he's filling in the gaps or teaching something else, or maybe he was prefacing each thing is, what they meant to say was this. I don't know. Anyway, so Tom was the man who interpreted for us in Ambala. He loved to laugh, and for us, that was a wonderful help. Jim seems more intense than Tom, but that intensity is with the purpose of making sure the students comprehend and apprehend what is taught. A side goal here with Lance and I is to get Jim to crack up. Laugh, not go crazy. So we did. We had a goal that week to see if we could get Jim to bust loose. You got to have goals and strive for them. Yeah, okay. Another thing I've just realized is the lack of mosquitoes. I have not seen one. The fear of mosquitoes has been a lot of energy for naught. The flies are abundant, but not a major discomfort. And I don't do the trip vaccinations they recommend, for malaria and all that kind of stuff. I just, you might call me foolish, with good reason. But as far as getting shots, the Lord knows me, where I'm at, and He'll take care of me. I'd be interested to see what you guys say in the comment sections, but whatever. Okay, today is the 2-week mark since I left home. See, 1 week I went down to Lance's in Oxnard, California. We prepared the inductive Bible study system we were going to be teaching, and then from there we flew out and began our time of teaching in India. To this 2-week mark since I left home. Anticipation of reunion with my family is continuing to gain my attention more and more. Right now is class time, but since it is a time when the students do their assignments, Lance and I hang out in our guest room. I found trying to walk through the class and check the students' work is not as much of a help as I would have liked. I can't read nor speak Hindi. Therefore, sometimes both student and I just smile at each other until I move on. Can you imagine just leaning over? What are you doing there? What are you doing there? Okay, hey, it looks great. And for all I know, they could be doing stick figures in Hindi, and I don't know. I've noticed that apart from the doors and window frames, there is no wood used in home construction. And for those who don't know, I'm really involved in construction, do all kinds of construction. And I grew up, my dad was a bricklayer. I learned the trade, went through a union apprenticeship. So mortar, cement, I look at it. I notice it. I notice how it's done. I notice what the skill set is and the whole thing. So here I'm making comment on that. Brick walls covered with smooth plaster, this is the standard for construction. Marble is the common flooring here. I think it's because of the abundance of marble found here in India. Kitchen have the same basic appearance of camping gear on a countertop. That's basically what it is. This is the ultimate in only the necessities, please. One of the marble companies... Oh, yeah. This kind of shocked me. One of the marble companies is called Swastika Marble. When I saw the accompanying symbol, I was shocked. I've only seen the swastika in relation to the Nazis. Lance and I noticed that the symbol on a number of homes and wondered what it meant. So I asked, and apparently it is some sort of good luck symbol with no ties to racism. But it's weird walking around seeing this huge swastikas and people have them all over the place and you're wondering, what in the world? Though it was interesting that the name of the state that Ambala is in is called Haryana. Makes you wonder if this is where the word Aryan came from. Oh, Haryana. Sorry, I mispronounced it. Haryana, Aryan. Well, I hope you tie that all together. I don't know. I'm mumbling. So I'm going to turn the page. I'm wrinkling the papers. And I'm continuing to read now. Are you still there? You're kind of quiet. The home stretch is bearing down upon us. The struggle between focused ministry and the longing for home is intensifying. The shock and awe of arrival in India has given way to a strange familiarization with the people, food, and culture. What kept us on edge when first arriving has now dulled in sensation. Now I keep forgetting to use bottled water when I brush my teeth. I do, however, make the effort midstream and rinse it thoroughly with bottled water. I've even noticed Lance has begun to loosen up and remove his protective mask and latex gloves when taking a meal. That's hyperbole. He didn't really do that. I just wanted to make Lance look like a germaphobe. Anyway, this is progress. My hope is that before the trip is over, he can feel safe enough to remove his plastic jumpsuit. That's funny. By the way, he did like this. When he read that, he has a great sense of humor. I wanted to mention something on this. When we first landed there, and I know this every time I land in some place, and I remember even when I was in Israel and landing, it's like, I was shocked. What have they done with my Israel? Of course, it was in my mind what it's supposed to be like, and you're on edge going, this isn't right. It's not the same that it was in my mind. And when you arrive in India, the poverty is thick. The rubbish, the garbage, everything is just overwhelming. The sight, smells, and you don't have that in your mission pamphlets. I oftentimes wish they could have scratch and sniff so you can actually smell what's going on there, and it's intense. But there's also beautiful things. Don't get me wrong; it's only parts of it. But by the time a week passes, you're dulled. You see someone who's living in a little hut, and stacked next to it is their firewood for the winter, which is basically cow chips stacked up there. I might mention this further on down here, but if I don't, now you know it, but if I do mention it later on in the journal, it's like going down memory lane. You've heard that someplace before. So here you go. One of the shocking things was seen in the way many men aren't inhibited to relieve themselves in public. Oh yeah. Most are courteous enough to face away from traffic. Thankfully, this type of behavior is not common for the women. More discretion is used for the female gender. Yeah, there's no... You wonder about that in such a populous place. But for the guys, it's not any big deal. Just as nature calls, you respond. That's a shock. The men in the Bible school, as a whole, seem to be more studious than what was experienced in Ambala. There are also a few more musicians here. I think this guitar of mine is going to find a home in Delhi. Oh, another thing I do when I go on a mission trip is I buy a guitar specifically to leave in the country that I visit. And what it does, it provides me a guitar that I can play while I'm there, because I play guitar. But then when I'm done, I can pass it on, and it's a huge blessing to whomever we leave it with. So, every hotel has abundant manpower anxious to earn a tip. They will take the bags from your hands, walk a few feet, set your bags in your vehicle, and expect a tip. We have tried to be generous. Here, we're turning a corner. This is a new development. I got to talk to my wife this morning. They say absence makes the heart grow fonder. I think that's a wimpy statement. Try this. Absence brutalizes and tramples your emotions and slowly extrudes your heart through the meat grinder of loneliness. This definition probably won't make it to a Hallmark card. Yesterday, 5 students came down with some illness. This makes Lance and I a little nervous. If the natives are susceptible to germ invasion, how much more these pasty-skinned Americans? We pray with unusual genuineness over our food and health issues. For those who have a gentle demeanor, and I'm going to be sharing something that you might want to put your fingers in your ears just for a second. This is part of the mission experience that more often than not you may experience in a new place with different water and different food. And here we go. And I'm being transparent. Oh, this is weird. Transparent to, I mean, dozens of people watching. It could be, well, there's lots of, well, there might be lots of people. I don't know. Here we go. A week ago, the loose caboose pulled into my station. Thankfully, it is neither a bullet train nor an hourly commuter run. The train resembles the little train that could. The words, "I think I can, I think I can," are more representative of the morning and evening trolley circling my intestinal tract. No, I'm not going to translate. I like that. That's funny. I found an interesting correlation between expectation and realization. When first arriving, my eyes saw a huge mass of poverty, an unorganized society with scatterings of modernization, wandering and futile, hopeless and transient. And just as my body had to acclimatize to the heat and humidity, and my ears to the dialect and the way of communication, so too my eyes required a type of translation. The best example I can muster up is the traffic flow, or lack thereof. My first sight was one of confused chaos on the brink of total disaster. Collision and death loomed precariously on the absent skill of all sorts of people, riding vacantly in and on dilapidated bikes, trikes, and trucks, cars, and carts. Now, after my long sojourn of almost 2 weeks, my brain is beginning to understand what my eyes have been communicating. There is a divergent traffic language. So too with the lifestyles of those in India. The offenses to my eyesight are slowly giving way to the simple realization that what may appear repulsive to the American eye may have a totally different look to the native eye. Nonetheless, there is so much room for ministry, a vast sea of people who need Jesus. In India, there is a higher sense of respect for the pursuit of faith. Religion is not dismissed in daily life. Spiritual endeavors are embraced as part of the total human experience. This is not the case in corporate America. Well, I think that might be enough of the journal today. I'm going to stretch this out a bit because it's just fun to let that sit in or sink in. Oops, I accidentally turned the page. Oh, I remember that. That's going to be fun. But for now, I'm going to call this the end of journal episode part 3 of Journey to India. Thank you for watching. We're heading down that home run stretch to 100 subscribers. It could be any day now. But it's fun to see things growing. And if you, whoa, did you hear that bell? That means it's time to subscribe. And you can hit the like button. I go down this. Subscribe, you hit the like button. Or since this is Random Edge Productions, and that's rep, you can rip the rep. You subscribe, you hit the like button, and leave a comment. That's just letting it rip because you're a rep. I must be getting tired at the end of the video. With that in mind, thank you again for watching. Until next time, R.I.P. Rest in peace. No. I mean, it's time for a nap. No, I didn't mean the other. No, no.